Have you ever been 100% sure of something, like a movie line, a logo, or a memory from your childhood, only to find out it never existed the way you remember it? Like, when did Pikachu have a black tip on his tail? Or when did the Monopoly Man lose his monocle? Or maybe you swear up and down that you remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, even though he actually passed away in 2013. If you've experienced this weird glitch in your memory, don't worry, you're not losing your mind. You're experiencing something called the Mandela Effect. And today, we're diving into why your brain remembers things that never happened, how this phenomenon messes with entire groups of people at once, and the strange, unsettling theories behind it. But first, let me take you back to a time this effect completely shook me. I was around 10 years old, sitting on the floor of my cousin's house during summer break. We were watching this goofy old VHS tape of a movie called Shazam, where Sinbad, yes, Sinbad the comedian, played a magical genie. I remember it vividly. He wore this big, ridiculous turban, came out of a lamp, and granted wishes to two kids. It was cheesy, magical, and honestly, kind of awesome in a 90s kid kind of way. Years later, during a late-night nostalgia spiral, I tried to find Shazam online, except it didn't exist. There was no movie with Sinbad as a genie. Ever. People told me I was confusing it with Kazam, the 1996 movie starring Shaquille O'Neal. But no matter what anyone said, I was certain, like deep in my core certain, that I saw Sinbad in Shazam. I even remembered the scenes. And then I found out thousands of other people remembered the same exact movie. Same actor, same turban, same magical storyline. But nothing existed. That was my first personal experience with the Mandela Effect, and it shook me. What is the Mandela Effect? The Mandela Effect is when a large group of people remembers something differently than how it actually happened. It was named after Nelson Mandela because a surprisingly large number of people remember watching news reports in the 1980s about his death in prison. Some people even claim they remember the funeral, the news coverage, and reactions from global leaders. But Nelson Mandela didn't die in prison. He was released in 1990 and became the president of South Africa in 1994. He lived until 2013. So how can so many people who've never met share the same false memory? This isn't just a few isolated incidents. The Mandela Effect shows up in pop culture, history, logos, childhood memories, and more. Let's look at a few famous examples that might just mess with your head. Number 1, the Berenstain Bears. Most people remember this beloved children's book series as the Berenstain Bears, with an E, but it's actually the Berenstain Bears, with an A. Nope, it's not a typo. It's always been spelled that way. Allegedly. Luke, I am your father. Darth Vader never said that. The actual line from The Empire Strikes Back is, no, I am your father. Yet millions remember Luke, I am your father, including in pop culture references, parodies, and even t-shirts. Another example, the Monopoly Man's monocle. He doesn't have one, never did, but people vividly remember him wearing a monocle. Maybe it's because of the Planters peanut guy, or is it something else? And mirror, mirror on the wall? In Disney's Snow White, the evil queen doesn't say that. She actually says, magic mirror on the wall. Go check if you don't believe it. And finally, Fruit of the Loom logo. You remember a cornucopia behind the fruit, right? Nope, never existed. Just a bunch of fruit, no horn-shaped basket. These might seem small and harmless until you realize how confident you were about them. Like, these are memories you'd bet money on, and yet they're false. So what's going on here? How your brain creates false memories. The scary truth is, your brain is not a perfect recording device. It's not a hard drive storing events exactly as they happened. It's more like a constantly edited Google Doc, open to suggestions, changes, and even total rewrites. Here's how it works. Your brain fills in gaps. If it doesn't have a complete memory, it guesses. It uses context, expectations, and past experiences to fill in the blanks. That's why Berenstain sounds more familiar than Berenstain. You confuse similar memories. You might mix scenes from different movies or blend real-life events with something you saw online or heard in a story. Over time, the lines blur. Repetition reinforces falsehoods. If you hear something enough times, even if it's wrong, your brain starts to believe it's true. This is called the illusory truth effect. And when group reinforcement multiplies the error, when you hear others confirm the same false memory, it feels like proof. You feel validated. You think, see, I'm not crazy, but you might all be remembering the same wrong thing together. So why do so many people remember the same wrong thing? Here's where it gets wild. You might wonder, okay, I get it, memory is flawed, but why are thousands or even millions of people misremembering the same details? That's where the theories come in. Some are grounded in psychology, some straight out of science fiction. Let's explore both. In psychology, there's a term called confabulation. It means your brain creates false memories without any intent to lie. It's not deception, it's your brain trying to make sense of incomplete information. Confabulation often happens with childhood memories, traumatic events, things you remember hearing from others. When multiple people grow up in similar cultures, watching the same shows, exposed to the same pop culture references, it's easy for large groups to develop similar false memories. This is why people from the same generation tend to have the same Mandela Effect experiences. Now, let's go full conspiracy for a second. Some people believe the Mandela Effect proves the existence of parallel universes. According to this theory, we've slid between alternate timelines, realities that are almost identical to ours, but with small differences, like a different spelling, a missing monocle, a genie movie that existed in one timeline, but not in this one. The idea is that at some point, our consciousness or entire reality shifted, and the memories we retained are leftovers from a previous version of the universe. It sounds crazy, but it does explain why so many people are so confident in memories that supposedly never happened. Whether or not you believe it, the theory has fascinated millions and sparked endless internet rabbit holes. Before the internet, if you remembered something differently, you'd just assume you were mistaken or maybe no one else noticed. But now, one Reddit thread or TikTok video can reveal millions of others have the same memory. Suddenly, it feels like proof. Online forums like the Mandela Effect subreddit have thousands of people documenting these memory glitches, and social media helps these memories spread, even if they're wrong. The more people who believe, the stronger the effect. Should you be worried? Not really. The Mandela Effect doesn't mean your brain is broken. It just proves that memory is incredibly suggestible. It's a reminder to stay humble about what you know, because what feels real and solid might just be an illusion. That said, if you find yourself constantly experiencing false memories, it's worth paying attention to how you store and recall information. Sometimes stress, lack of sleep, or even certain medications can affect memory quality. But for most of us, the Mandela Effect is more of a curiosity than a crisis. It's a glitch in the brain's system, both fascinating and kind of beautiful. You're not alone. We all remember things that never happened. We trust our minds to be reliable, but our memories are always rewriting themselves, influenced by what we see, hear, and believe. Whether you believe it's psychology, social influence, or multiverse theory, The Mandela Effect is a strange mirror showing us just how fragile and flexible reality can be. So the next time you're sure of something, take a second, pause, look it up. You might be surprised at just how wrong your brain can be. Or maybe it's not you that changed, it's the timeline. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and drop a comment below.